Single keyword ad groups is a blueprint we use at Client Boost to build the strongest search campaigns possible. It gives our clients an unfair advantage because it improves the click-through rate, the quality scores, the impression shares, but most importantly, it helps lower the cost per click and the cost per acquisition. Here's how it works. Now, before you can take advantage of single keyword ad groups, you need to understand the value of granularity. The keywords in your account are what you can control, and this is what you bid on. The search terms are what you can't control, and this is what you're actually paying for. So when a search term doesn't match a keyword, and worse yet, it doesn't match an actual ad, you're leaving a lot of click-through rate on the table, which equals worse performance for you. Now, take that one step further, and you actually are suffering from something called the iceberg effect. Now, when you traditionally build an ad group, you got to think about it in terms of two extremes. On one side, you have simplicity. On the other side, you have chaos. And most of the time, some of us marketers are quite in between, maybe like right where I'm sitting when we actually build our ad groups. But we have to ask ourselves why. Do we do it because we are told that we have to build things in themes? And when we do we have a higher likelihood of being successful with our advertising? True. But if that's the case, why don't we just take it to the one extreme of the simplicity side, which is where we have the single keyword ad group. The goal for you is to make sure that your search term always matches your ad. And when you do that, your CTR, your click-through rate, automatically goes up. And when that happens, all the other metrics go up as well. So let's take a look at how you actually build your single keyword ad group. Now, all single keyword ad groups have just a few things in common. The first thing is they have what we call root keywords. Root keywords are the shortest tail versions of the keywords that you want to bid on, and also while you make sure that they have the highest intent possible. Let's take online college, for example. With that, we're basically going to use three different match types. We're going to use modified broad match, phrase match, and exact match. We're going to leave regular broad match out for this time. After that, you're going to have two ads that are going to compete against each other. The most important thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is that when you build these ads, headline 1 is going to be used for the actual keyword online college, and the path is going to be used for that keyword as well. Everything else on headline 2 or description, you can now be creative and test whatever you want. Those keyword match types force a search engine to give you a closer 1-to-1 ratio between your search term and your actual keyword. So when you're going out and building new single keyword ad groups, like the online school example we looked at, but also let's say online university or online class, you basically have a higher likelihood of getting that higher CTR, which is all that matters. Now, once you actually have your single keyword ad groups running, the next step is to look at your search term report and see if there's any longer tail versions of those searches coming through. And if there are, you're basically going to take those longer tail searches and turn them into new single keyword ad groups and make sure you use an ad group level negative keyword to actually exclude it from the original single keyword ad group. This, in a sense, helps you take your bigger iceberg and turn it into much smaller icebergs over time. Before you get started with single keyword ad groups, there are some downsides you want to consider. The first one is called data dilution. In a regular sense, when you have an ad group, you have many keywords in that ad group and a few ads. When you split them up with single keyword ad groups, you're basically stretching all that traffic out to different sources, and that means that your ads will take longer to test. That's okay. The other thing, and that's a downside too, is that it will take you a longer time to set up, and it will take you a longer time to manage. But the upside on that is that there's a good chance your competitors are not taking advantage of it because of that, and because they're potentially lazy. Now, some of the biggest benefits to keep in mind is that when you set up single keyword ad groups correctly, you can test ads and landing pages with more confidence because you can actually control the quality traffic that you're getting. Before, you might actually have ad groups that have your brand coming through of search terms, generic search terms, competitor search terms, and informational. The truth is, all of these different search terms perform differently, but they can only adhere to one keyword bid at a time. The second thing, if you're not a retailer, you can actually start figuring out which keywords are bringing you sales with, again, much more confidence. Before, you can go back and maybe say, this keyword is actually giving me sales, but if I had a lot of search terms beneath the surface, again, if you're having a large iceberg effect happening, you weren't actually being able to be actionable about that. And the last thing is that you're actually going to start making more money. That's it.